All right, and we are back. This is NHL 20 Franchise Mode Calgary Flames. This is episode number 14. Yes, welcome to our franchise mode here with Calgary, and we are in the Stanley Cup playoffs here in the year of 2021. It is April 8th, 2021, and the Calgary Flames are set to make their third straight appearance in the Stanley Cup playoffs in the last 3 years. But they're trying to look and get some successful postseason success, you could say, or just getting some actual runtime here in the playoffs. Because yes, the Calgary Flames have not had a lot of success when it comes to the postseason, especially in the last few years or so. The Flames really struggling to make up some ground and really win some hockey games when it comes to the most important time of the year, and that of course is the playoffs. So yes, welcome to episode 14, I should say. With the Calgary Flames. The last episode 13, we took from the trade deadline onward, and we finished the entire National Hockey League season. It was a very intense episode because obviously we did the trade deadline. We went ahead and got ourselves one piece at the deadline, and that was, of course, some depth scoring in Corey Perry. We went and got him. Perry comes over to Calgary in 20 games, puts up 9 points on a third line row. Played a little bit of second power play time there as well. Not too bad. Goes +3 as well. He had 31 points in 61 games there with New Jersey this season. Then comes over in 20 games and puts up 9 points. Not bad from what you're probably expecting from a third line winger to chip in. I was maybe hoping for a little bit more, but that's not too bad. Through 20 games for Corey Perry, averaging about a point every second game, so half a point a game, if you will, with the Calgary Flames. So not too bad for Corey Perry. He was our lone acquisition there at the trade deadline. Comes over and gives us a little bit of depth here in our bottom six. So there was that. And then we finished the regular season, but we ran into some massive, and I mean massive, injuries on our up front and in net. So first of all, we lost our number one goaltender, David Riddick. He went down. He is out till about the end of April. I think they said the 25th of April or something. We'll look at it in a second here. But our second injury was a pretty big one as well. We lost Sean Monahan for a good chunk of time as well. That's why he's on the third line, because when he did come back at the very end of the regular season, I just slotted him on the third line because the lines are kind of out of whack there. So I'm going to fix these lines. We're going to get Monahan back up, obviously, to start the Stanley Cup playoffs. We'll switch him and Michael Backlund around. I think we'll start the playoffs like this with Gaudreau, Domi, and Lindholm. That was a good line near the end of this season for us. And then Tkachuk, Monahan, and Mangiapane. Not a bad line there as well. And then, of course, Backlund giving us some good depth down there with Perry and Sam Bennett. And then we'll go Wilson, Jankowski, and Dubé. So that's how we'll start. We'll start with the way we finished. We're just going to switch Monahan back into a top six row. Michael Backlund back onto the third line. Giordano, Anderson, Hanifin, Valimaki, Shillington, Hamonic. Obviously, we're not going to touch our defense at all. And then we'll just quickly here fix these lines. I want to get Monahan back, like I said, back into the swing of things here. Who do I want to take out? We'll take out Perry. Keep Backlund because he's playing well. Let's put Monahan back in here. So just some minor changes. I forgot to get Monahan back in all these situations here. So we'll put Monahan there. We can put Lindholm back up there with Gaudreau, Monahan, Lindholm, Giordano, Tkachuk. So we'll start the playoffs like that. Domi, Backlund, Mangiapane, and Hanifin and Anderson. And then we can just start taking Michael Backlund out of. We just filled Backlund in a lot of Monahan's roles when Monahan went down. PK Jankowski comes out here. Monahan goes in. So we definitely ran into a couple key injuries. They were only two players, but they were two of our biggest players, David Riddick and Sean Monahan, in the last episode there in episode 13. Now, because of that, we unfortunately did not finish first in the Pacific Division. It was a very, very tight race with the Edmonton Oilers, but unfortunately, we do not finish first. The injuries to Sean Monahan, but probably specifically to David Riddick, really costed us a Pacific Division title. David Riddick was our backbone. In the second half, it's kind of strange because in the first half of the season, we won't have to worry about 3-on-3 because there's no 3-on-3 in the playoffs, and there's no shootout in the playoffs, so I won't worry about that as well. So there's Zagadulin in there. Like I said, Talbot is our number one goalie. We can just look quickly at Talbot's stats here. So they were showing us his playoff stats. I'm not sure. So here was his season here. He goes 38 games, plays a good chunk of his games at the end of the season, goes 25, 12, and 1, 905. Not too bad when you look at those numbers, but 290 goes against. But it was just at the end of the season there. I'd rather have David Riddick in net because there was a few games where Talbot was just a little shaky there. Probably costed us the Pacific Division title. It's hard to put it all on one player in Cam Talbot. But there were a few games where we definitely could have used Riddick instead of Talbot. Riddick, of course, is an 85, Talbot in 81, so that does make a difference. So there it is, David Riddick, broken ankle. He went down with a broken ankle. I don't know at what point in the last episode, but missed obviously the entire month of March, or most of it anyway, and the rest of the regular season. He's not coming back till the 23rd of April. So I thought that was 2 playoff rounds in. Turns out it's only 1 playoff round in. So if we can survive the first round with Cam Talbot, we do have David Riddick back by you can see the 23rd here. So providing we go even less than 7 games, the first round should end somewhere around the 21st or 22nd, meaning the second round might start exactly around when we're expecting to have Riddick back, which is the 23rd. If that's the case, then that will be really good, obviously, for us to get David Riddick back here because we need him back. So you can see like some of these games here in March, we really could have used Riddick in the long run. Maybe like something like this 5-4 loss to the Rangers. There was quite a few of those games. I know we did win a good chunk of games as well. There was a 4-3 loss here to the Knights as well. We just could have used Riddick in a lot of these situations. We won quite a few key divisional games at the end of the season there, and we did pretty good, but it wasn't enough to fend off those pesky Edmonton Oilers from up north, who do claim the Pacific Division title. That's after we claimed it for 2 straight years. We were going for our 3rd straight title, and the Oilers come through and beat us by just 4 points. So that's all it took. You can see right here, it just took 4 points for the Edmonton Oilers to beat us. They do hit the 50-win plateau. We hit 48 wins. We didn't really look at our stats in the last episode, so I'm just going to quickly run through it before we start the playoffs in this one, just because we were close for time in the last one. But we do go 104 points, 48, 26, and 8 is how we finished the season. A pretty good second season in our franchise mode. But again, when we started our franchise mode last season, we had a pretty elite team. We knew we were going to be a contender each year, so we're expecting to get over 100 points each and every year, probably close to the 50-win plateau every single year with this team. And we do come very close to that, and we do hit 104 points here. They're good enough for second in our division. The Canucks finishing just 1 point back of us for third, so it's going to be a very tight first round against them. There's the Coyotes going in at 94, 91 for the Anaheim Ducks. Both wildcard spots going to our division. Our division was really good all year long, so no surprise by that. But again, there's the Oilers at number 1 in our division, just beating us by 4 points, or else we would have been the Pacific Division champs for a 3rd straight year. There's just a quick look at the 8 teams in the West here. Like I said, in the Central, it's Nashville, Dallas, and Colorado getting in as well. Just a quick look at the 8 teams in the East there. It looks like the Islanders don't get in, but the Panthers do. The Leafs do squeak in. The Red Wings, the Leafs were on the outside looking in most of the season, as was Tampa Bay for, I think, a 2nd straight year. They miss. There's Carolina, Jersey, Washington, Pittsburgh, and Philly destroying the NHL with 117 points, well ahead of anybody else by 10 points, by 11 points ahead of Pittsburgh and Washington there, who tie for 2nd in the NHL. As we look at it, I guess in Edmonton, I forgot Edmonton was there at 108, so they were 9 points back at Philly for the President's Trophy. I'm just looking here, yeah. So Pittsburgh, Washington, Colorado. We tied with Colorado technically. With the tiebreakers, we finished, 6th in the NHL. Not bad, a top 10 finish for us. I believe last year we finished, did we finish 2nd? I believe we finished 2nd in the NHL, because we did finish 1st in the Western Conference and the Pacific last year. So we do drop this year from, I believe, 2nd to 6th, but still a top 10 position for the Calgary Flames, almost top 5 for the Flames. Again, that's what we were expecting, around 100 points or north of 100 points. And you can see not a lot of separation between us and Edmonton, in 2nd place. I'm not going to look at goals for, goals against, power play, that I think we improved enough on that throughout the season. We were in the top 10 steady in goals for and in the top 10 steady in goals against on the positive side of that. So I don't need to look at that too much. I just want to quickly look at our team stats, and then I want to jump right into Vancouver because that's who we obviously have here in the first round. So there is a look at how we finished the regular season in terms of stats with our players. So Johnny Gaudreau leading us with 75 points again. For those who weren't watching, we have a very spread out offense. We have a coach that rows all 4 lines and all 3 pairings, meaning there's a lot more ice time being spread out equally versus playing our top players probably more than we would have liked. If you do go by ice time here, where's ice time? Here we go. Time on ice per game. Our top players still do lead us. Giordano, Anderson, Hanifin. There's our Lindholm, Gaudreau, Monahan. So our top 3 forwards in Gaudreau, Lindholm, and Monahan, all leading us in ice times, as well as Domi. Perry only up there because he probably played top line minutes when he was in Jersey. So you can see a lot of, and then obviously our defenseman Kachuk up there as well, Backlund. So our top, and then Mangiapane, who was in our top 6 as well. So our top players still led us when it came to ice time, but it was a lot more spread out maybe than other teams where they would focus on playing the top 6 a little bit more. But that's okay because our offense was spread out. There's Rasmus Anderson leading us with a plus 31 this year on the top pairing. That's what you want to see from Rasmus Anderson, who's really growing. Just want to go by points quickly here. Johnny Gaudreau, 35 goals, so he almost hits the 40-goal plateau. Doesn't put up as many assists as we're used to from Johnny, but still cracks the 70-point plateau. I was really close to almost going a point a game. So another really solid year for Johnny Gaudreau. Yeah, he didn't get his 99 points like he did 2 seasons ago, but he's still putting up north of 70 points every season. That's all you can ask from your top line players, especially when your offense is more spread out. Monahan, of course, he was injured for quite a bit, so he only played 77 games, but he puts up almost 70 points as well, so he almost hits what Gaudreau hits. He hits, just 7 points less at 68. Puts up 23 goals. I was happy to see that come through, so he does hit the 20-goal plateau. Sean Monahan's not hitting the 30-goal plateau anymore, but he is starting to put up more assists, so he's becoming more of a rounded player. Max Domi hits 64 points with us in his first full season. As a Calgary Flame. Only hits 11 goals, but leads our team with 53 assists. That's what we expected from him on that second line. He fed Andrew Mangiapane all season long, who came so close to hitting the 40-goal plateau. He cooled off in the last week or so of the regular season. If he stayed on pace, he easily could have probably hit 45 goals. He hits 37 goals in his first full season as a top 6 winger. That's why we brought him in our top 6. 60 points basically at 59. That's definitely a top 6 player right there for you, and only 25 years of age. Lindholm very close to the 60-point plateau as well, just falls short of the 20-goal plateau on that right side. We even have the option of switching these two around going into next year on the top 2 lines. Michael Backlund playing most of the season on that third line, goes 55 points there, 17 goals. Giordano, our top defenseman, goes 54 points. So the captain at 37 years of age does hit the 50-point plateau yet again. 2 seasons removed from winning a Norris. There's Noah Hanifin hitting the 50-point plateau as well, as does Matthew Tkachuk with 16 goals, 51 points. Corey Perry, 40 points. Again, a good chunk of that coming with the Devils. 28 points for Dylan Dubé in his first season as a Calgary Flame in the NHL. Not bad. Again, this is third line now. Bennett, 27. Anderson, 26. Jankowski, 22. And then pretty much our fourth line players and onward there. And then when we looked at quickly at our goaltending here, like I said, Rittich playing most of the season for us, almost hitting the 50-game plateau. Easily would have eclipsed 50. I bet you he easily would have eclipsed 60, maybe even 65 games if he played, if he didn't get injured, I should say, because we did lean on him quite a bit. Does go 9-1-3, 2-6-0 through 47 games. 24-15-7 was his record, and we already looked at Talbot, who went 9-0-5 through 38 games there. So not bad. The goaltending was a little inconsistent all season long. Still a lot more confident in Rittich than we are in Talbot. So it kind of sucks that we lost, that we did lose David Rittich to injury there in that last episode, and we do not have him, like I said, for the first round as well. Quickly want to go back here because I want to look at the Vancouver Canucks and where they finish now as we start to preview our matchup here against the Canucks. So again, really quickly looking at the Pacific here, you can see the Canucks just 1 point back of us. Basically, it was 1 point that decided who has home ice in this first round series. So you'll remember last year we did play the Vancouver Canucks in the first round. We won that playoff series. In fact, we actually swept the Canucks 4 4-zip in the first round. It was the second time in the last decade, or sorry, the third time in the last decade that we played really the last several years that we played the Canucks in the first round. We had them in the first round in 2015. We beat them in the first round there. And then, I guess we didn't play them in 2017. That was Anaheim, sorry. But we played them in 2004. That's what I should say. 2004 in the first round, we beat them. We played them in the first round in 2015. We beat them. We played them in the first round last year in 2020. We beat them. We swept them. And so for a fourth time in the last however many years it's been, we have the Vancouver Canucks in the first round yet again. We're starting to build quite a rivalry in the Stanley Cup playoffs with the Vancouver Canucks, obviously being such a division rival with us here. So obviously that's pretty good. You want those healthy rivalries for sure. And like I said, we've got them now for a fourth time as well. So here we go. Just looking quickly at their stats. It was a very close. What am I trying to say here? The Canucks were very close to us all season long. In fact, at one point, Vancouver did lead the Pacific for a good chunk of the season. It was Vancouver that led the Pacific Division, I should say. The Edmonton Oilers crept up about at the second half of the mark, as did we. We actually had a pretty shaky start to our season. We were in the bottom of our division. In the first quarter of the season, we really picked it up, but the Canucks really were a steady team atop our division all year long. So they had a really good chance of winning the Pacific. They got passed by us and the Edmonton Oilers near the end of the season, and obviously Oilers capitalized on winning the Pacific. So just what I'm trying to say is it's going to be a really close series. I mean, Vancouver's a really, really good team this year. Definitely don't expect to sweep them. I'm just hoping we can beat them. It's going to be a tight series, and I'm a little scared because if we were in Edmonton's position by 4 more points, we would have got one of the wild card teams, which would have been a lot easier than facing this Canucks team that, like I said, spent a lot of the season ahead of us in the standings. So let's just take a quick look at where they finished in terms of goals against, goals for, and power play and PK, and then we'll jump right into the playoffs here and start simming the first round. So starting with goals for, you can see they actually finished ahead of us. So we had 269 goals for, they had 272 goals for. So they score 3 more goals than we do in the regular season. Pretty much around the same mark. We finished 7th, they finished 5th, but we're pretty average. I mean, 3 goals isn't much of a difference between our two teams. So we're both a high-scoring team. That's what we can take away from that. Goals against. Let's just take a quick look at goals against. So we were 5th. What is that? 5th? Yeah, 5th in goals against, only allowing 226. The Canucks are not in the top 8. They're in the top 9. So there they are, sitting at 9th. 229, averaging 2.79. We're averaging 2.76. So pretty close as well. Not a lot of separation when it comes to goals against as well. What is that? 3 goals separating us yet again in goals against as well. So they're a pretty even team, and that's what I expected. Obviously, with being a team that finished just 1 point below us and being a team that was atop our division all year long and fighting with us, I expected them to be very, very close when it comes to goals for and goals against. So they're probably a very similar team to what we are. That's why I'm saying this series could probably easily go 7 games, and it's going to be really close, and that's what I'm scared for. We cannot afford it. I'll talk about it in a second, but it's going to be a close series. Just want to look quickly at the power play. There we are, 3rd in the league, 21.7%. The Canucks, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So actually in the bottom half of the PP here. There they are here. In the bottom half, somewhere in the bottom 15. So their power play not as strong as ours. That's where we might have an advantage on them. But where's their PK working at? Let's go PK here. Our PK struggled this year, that's for sure. Roughly 15 there. So they're in the bottom half as well, as are we. So that was us there. There they are, 4th from the bottom. So their PK really struggled, 78.7%. Like I said, 4th worst in the NHL. We were 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We were 14th worst in the NHL. They were, what did I say, 4th worst? Yeah, 4th worst, and we were 14th worst. So their PK struggled and their PP struggled. They struggled on special teams is what we can take away from that. So we have them beat maybe in special teams, but again, it's going to be close. I'm not sure how we're going to stack up when it comes to their team in terms of goals for and goals against. So let's take a quick look here at their team, see where all their scoring came from, and then we'll look at their lines quickly and jump right into the first round here. So here we go. Vancouver, so they were led by Elias Pettersson yet again in points. I think we looked at this team again last year at this time, and we did the same thing. We're like, oh, there's Pettersson leading the team in points, and he does it yet again for a second straight year. 89 points. Look at that. Almost hits the 90-point plateau. 32 goals, but look at that. 57 assists. Pettersson just an all-around superstar for the Vancouver Canucks at 22 years of age. That's insane. They do go and get Alex Pietrangelo. I don't know if they got him in the off-season last year in the summertime or they acquired him at some point during the season. I don't know if I remember the notification coming on that Vancouver got Pietrangelo during the season, so I wonder if they... obviously, he played 82 games with them, I believe, so can we just look at player info? I just want to look at his stats here. Did he play a full? Yeah, he played a full season with Vancouver then this year. So he did. They got him in the off season in the summertime at some point, and obviously coming in and being their top defenseman there. Probably paid him quite a bit. I'm not going to look at his contract. We don't have time. But bringing in a top defenseman at 90 overall. Wasn't he? Oh, you know what? Pietrangelo was the top free agent last year. That's right. I'm just remembering that from our free agent episode. I don't know how many episodes back that was, 3 or 4 episodes back. Pietrangelo was the top free agent out there, so they must have paid a premium to get this guy. And now I want to know what his contract was. 10.3. Holy shit, for 7 years. Wow. And he's 31 years of age. They just signed him to a 7-year contract in the summer. 10.3 million. That's a lot. That's still a lot of money with the cap even going up. That's still a lot of money. Especially a guy at 31 years of age for 7 years. So they had to pay that much if they wanted to get a top defenseman. Clearly, that was a priority of theirs. Their defensive core maybe is weak, so maybe that's why they went and did that. But I mean, it did well for them. They finished, like I said, one of the top teams in the Pacific for most of the year. They were the top team in the Pacific. So it did it probably improve their team. That's just quite a bit to pay though. So he got anyways. Pietrangelo goes 79 points through 82 games. There's Besser coming in, at 78. Besser does hit the 40-goal plateau, so Mangiapane was close to hitting it. Besser does. He hits 41 goals, 26 for the captain Horvat, and 63 points, 59 for Sven Berchi, and 29 goals there, almost hitting the 30-goal plateau for the former Flame. JT Miller, 50-point plateau. There's Ferland, almost hitting 50 points, 15 goals there. So you can see their offense is pretty spread out, just like ours. I don't think they're top 6 heavy either. They do have some good players in their top 6, but so do we. I think we're pretty evenly matched here. Gaudette, Pearson there, and then Quinn Hughes going in with 35 points there, 11 goals. Stetcher, Roussel, Myers, yeah, so and onward. So yeah, they're pretty spread out, just like we are. I just want to quickly look at their goaltending here. Thatcher Demko led the way, 69 games played. So that's probably what Riddick would have been at had he not went down with an injury. I would have probably expected Riddick to be around that exact amount as well, probably 70 games. Demko goes 40 wins in 69 games. That's incredible. 40, 23, and 5. Really good season for Thatcher Demko, 9-10. 277. So they have a really good goalie in Thatcher Demko up top. And then Yaroslav Halak coming in 16 appearances, going 9-5-0, 9-1-3. So he also had a pretty good year as a backup. Yaroslav Halak, we know being a guy that we scouted at one point, he is a really steady backup. And that's good to see for the Canucks that they have that. But they definitely have a starter in their young goaltender, Thatcher Demko, who's just 25 years of age. We knew that guy was going to be a starter for a long time as well in the Vancouver organization. So that's just a quick look there. Finally, we'll look at how they stack up to our lines. So we looked at our lines at the beginning of this episode there. Let's quickly look at how the Vancouver Canucks stack up, and then we will jump right into the Stanley Cup playoffs. So let's go right here to Vancouver and just see what they are throwing at us. So they got Michael Ferland on the top line there. I thought Ferland would be somewhere on the third line. He's not. He's on the top line. 84. 89 is Elias Pettersson in the middle. Brock Besser, 88. That's a pretty elite top line there. JT Miller on the left side, 84. Bo Horvat, 88 down the middle. Sven Berchi, 82. That's a pretty decent second line as well. Pearson, 81 Bozak, 79 for Justin Bailey, Anton Roussel, Adam Gaudette, and Louis Eriksson. That's a weaker fourth line, but still good enough for the NHL. So, yeah, like you could say they're still a little top heavy because all their elite players are definitely up here. They're definitely deep down the middle, not as deep as we are, because Backlund is in 85, Monahan in 91, and Domi in 86. I think we're still a little deeper down the middle, but they do have an 89, 88, and an 81 down the middle. That's pretty good. And then they got an elite winger, obviously, in Besser. Furlan is not a bad top line winger, probably more suited for a second line with a JT Miller, and then Berchi's more of maybe a third line winger. But again, Berchi almost put up 30 goals here for them in the playoffs or in the regular season, and 50 points? Yeah, he put up 60 points. He put up almost 60 points and almost 30 goals. So, despite being an 82 overall, for some reason, he really clicked in that top six. I don't know if maybe him and Horvat have extreme chemistry, but Berchi playing a lot better than an 82 overall. So it doesn't look, maybe what's on paper isn't what it looked like in the regular season, is what I'm trying to say. There's their defense. So yeah, they definitely needed an Alex Pietrangelo because their next best defenseman is Tyler Myers at 83 overall. So they definitely needed to go out and get a star defenseman. They did that in the offseason. He's paired with Myers, as mentioned, the Calgary native there on the top pairing. Stetcher and Hughes at 82 and 81, and then Jordy Ben, and Justin Braun on the third pairing. Definitely not as strong as our defense. Our defense is not much stronger, but I think our defense is a little stronger. But that add of Pietrangelo was huge for the defensive core. So I think we have them slightly beat in defense. I think our forwards matchup is very similar to theirs. And then they have Tetrademko at 85 and Halak at 82, which is literally what we would have if Riddick was healthy. Riddick is in 85 and Talbot, is in 81. So they have us beat in goaltending only because in this series we do not have David Riddick. So if we lose this series, it could be because of goaltending, which really, really would suck. It would suck to lose a playoff series just because you're missing your number one goalie. And just the way we match up against them, it's going to be so close as it is. We definitely needed David Riddick in this playoff series, and unfortunately we don't have him. So that is where I'm really scared, because it's going to be tough as it is going up against the Canucks. So evenly matched, like I said, we're probably very evenly matched up front. We have them very slightly beat on the defensive core. We should have been evenly matched in the net as well, but because Riddick is injured, they definitely have us beat by far right now in the goaltending department in this series. So that sucks. There's not much you can do. Injuries happen. They happened at exactly the worst time of the year for us. If any time of the year to lose your starting goalie, out of any player as well, it had to be our starting goalie, which makes it that much tougher. Just irreplaceable was Riddick, and it showed at the end of the season there, at the end of the last episode there, with Talbot, unfortunately. So there's not much we can do. We have to rely on 81 overall Cam Talbot to get us through this series. Hopefully our special teams, because we have them definitely beat in the special teams category in terms of the power play and PK. Hopefully there's a lot of special teams in this series, and hopefully we just win that battle, and that will help to propel us through this episode. Yeah, so let's jump right in here to the first round here against the Canucks. So let's get right into game number 1. Vancouver Calgary opening round starts right now. Here we go, game 1. All right, here we go. We are in the midst of game 1. Home ice advantage from the Scotiabank Saddledome in Calgary in the Sea of Red, Flames and Canucks. We are going to go period by period, or should we go real-time sim? Let's go real-time sim here. We'll go real-time sim. It is the Stanley Cup playoffs. So here we go. First period, we're underway, 5 minutes in. Here's our first look at the special teams, a 5-on-3, and we can't score. See, if we're going to win the series, we have to win the... Oh, my God, and then they get a power play go. So we are already losing the special teams, and we're not even a period... We're already losing the special teams battle, I should say. We're not even a period in to the Stanley Cup playoffs. So that's not what you want to see. This response, though, is nice by Corey Perry and Andrew Mangiapane getting our first 2 goals of the Stanley Cup playoffs to tie this up after 20 minutes of play. Let's continue on here with the second period, but we have to win this special teams battle. Here's another look at our power play. There we go. There's our power play. That's what we need to win. Sean Monahan getting the goal there. We have our first lead of the series. Come on, Flames. And then we kill off the penalty. So special teams looking a little bit better here in the second period. Did we get a second power play goal? We don't. But that's looking a little bit better until they score a power play goal there. My God, just as I say that, Tanner Pearson tying it up on the power play. So what happened to them having a very weak power play and a weak PK? So far, it's not looking like it. It looks pretty even to me. So here we are, 3-3 after 20 or 40 minutes of play, I should say, here in game one. Third period. Come on, Flames, we need this opening game. Come on, we have to get ahead in this series, especially with Cam Talbot in net. We need to get ahead in this series. We can't afford to get behind here. We have home ice advantage. Come on, Calgary. Come on. This is a tight third period. This is how, oh my God, and then Pietrangelo scores. Come on, Calgary. Tie it up. 3 minutes to go. Come on, Calgary. Tie it. There we go. Sean Monahan, second of the game. This is tied at 4. Come on, Flames. We are going to overtime for game one of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Very fitting. Like I said, this is probably how the series is going to be. Very, very stressful and very, very tight. And we are already going to overtime in game one. 39 shots for us, 28 shots for them. We did outshoot them in the regulation there, but we need to score here in overtime. So here we go. Overtime, Flames and Canucks, and we get it. What is that? 2 minutes. 2 minutes in there. At 18-19 into overtime. Mark Giordano scoring the goal. So a huge goal by our 37-year-old captain coming through for us. I mean, that is what you want to see out of our veteran players. Monahan getting 2 goals for us in this one. Very big there. Mangiapane a 2-point night. Domi a 2-point night on that top line there. Giordano 2-point night, including the game winner. Perry adding some depth scoring. That's really what you want to see. But again, look at Cam Talbot, 8-6-2. Just not the best night all around. Obviously, it's going to be a tough series. It really is. We're going to have to outscore our way out of this series just to get David Riddick back for the second round. But first, we got to get to the second round. We are up 1-0 thanks to that overtime winner by Mark Giordano and that overtime win in game one. But we have to keep it going here in game two. We have to take a stranglehold on this series. So here we go. Game two from the Dome. Flames and Canucks for a second game here in the series. Let's go. There we go. Real-time sim. All right. Here's another look at the power play here in game two. We don't get anything, and then they score. So we do not generate on our power play. Vancouver takes advantage, and it's Pietrangelo's second of the series. So he's really come through key for them in this playoff series. I know it's very early in, just 4 periods into this series, but we can already see the impact that Pietrangelo is making. And obviously, he made such an impact for them in the regular season. What was he? Their second leading scorer behind Elias Pettersson. Not bad at all. Right, so let's continue on. They're up 1-0 after 20. Come on, Calgary. We need a huge response here. This is not the time for our offense to go dry. Power play, come on. Oh, my God. 0 for 2 on the power play in this game. We need it. Here we go. Third power play of the game. Oh, my God. 0 for 3. We are not getting this special teams battle. And then there they are, capitalizing on it. Former Flames Sven Berchi making it 2-0. This is brutal. If you're not going to win the special teams battle when you are the better team at that, you're not going to get too far. This one's not on Talbot at all. I mean, we do have 30 shots on net. I mean, give Demko credit. He's playing well. But we have to get those. We have to find a way to pot goals. I mean, it doesn't matter how many shots we get. We're not putting in the goals. We're not an elite team. So here's a big PK for us. We kill it off. Now we need momentum from that. Come on, Calgary. Down by 2. Come on, Flames. Come on. There we go. Corey Perry, second of the series. We need to tie this game up here. We got 7 minutes left here. Power play. This is for the time for the power play. And we go 0 for 4. This is brutal. Over 40 shots. Do we tie it up? No. So we do get a goal by Corey Perry in the third period there. A much closer game, or I shouldn't say closer game, but a much lower scoring game here, 2-1 compared to the 5-4 win there in game one. 9-3-1, much better night for Cam Talbot. But the biggest story of game two is we go 0 for 4 in the power. Oh, and then we just lose Max Domi. Why? Why? This is just not fair. Like, we go all season long with hardly any injuries to our top players, and then we lose 2 of our top players in Monahan and Riddick at the end of the season, and Max Domi, one of our top players, in the opening round here against the Canucks, and we are, oh my God, and he's out till the 22nd, so likely the end of this playoff series as well. Shit, that's not good. All right, so give me a second. I'm gonna go re-edit all these lines because obviously there's a lot of lines that Domi's in, and I've got to fix these lines the best we can now without Max Domi here in the first round. So give me a second. All right, here. So we are back. I just finished editing the lines and basically put Michael Backlund and Corey Perry in a lot of situations that Max Domi was in. I also went and drastically changed our power play and tweaked our PK as well, and I'm going to show you why here in a second. I just took a look at what our special teams is through 2 games, and it's not good at all. So what I did is, yeah, you can see this power play is completely different now. I put Johnny down on the point. We got Mangiapane, who's one of our top snipers, and Corey Perry, who's got 2 goals through 2 games so far for us. Put them on the top unit there with Monahan, and then I bumped Giordano down to the second unit. I'm going to double shift Johnny Gaudreau on both units. So on the top unit, he's going to play on the point. Second unit, he's going to play on the wing. Backlund and Lindholm with him, and then Hannafin and Giordano. We took Anderson off. We have to drastically change this power play, and I'll show you why in a second, as well as the PK. I kept everything the same. The only thing I made different is I put Matthew Tkachuk in where Max Domi was to try and switch that up. The reason I don't want to go too drastic with changing the personnel on these 2 PK units is when you look at defensive stats, these are still the top whatever 8 players that are there in terms of defensive stats. So I definitely want to keep these guys on there. Max Domi, obviously, you want on there, but with him being injured now, you can't do anything about it. But I'll show you why here. Just quickly before we resume our series here with the Canucks is when we go to player or team stats, excuse me, here in the playoffs. You'll notice that now we're looking at the team stats from all the teams that are in the playoffs, and you look at the power play, and we actually have one of the worst power plays currently in the playoffs. Again, only through 2 games, a small sample size, but still our power play is only 1 for 9. You can see right there, 1 goal for 9 power play chances, 11% is what we're operating. Sure, there's a few teams here that have yet to score a power play goal, but we're not doing too much better. Just 1 for 9 on the PP. We are really, really struggling when it comes to the power play, so that's why I made so many drastic changes. And then the PK, look at that, 40% on the PK. That is absolutely horrible. Good enough for dead last in the playoff teams. As you can see, we have allowed 3 power play goals against on just 5 chances. So we haven't given up a lot of chances, but we have given up 3 power play goals on 5 chances. 40% is our PK. I mean, again, small sample size because of the amount of games played, but when you have a power play that's at 11% and a PK that's at 40%, I mean, like I said at the top of this episode, if we are not winning that special teams battle, which is so crucial against this team in Vancouver, where we are such heavy favorites, in that department, if we do not beat the Canucks in that department, we're not going to win this series. So we have to start turning it around. It's been a horrible first 2 games on the power play and on the PK. Something has to change. So the only thing that we can do as a management staff and as a coaching staff is change our lines around. This is on the players to get this together here moving forward in this series, or we will not even have a shot at winning this series against Vancouver. There's nothing else we can do. Our power play and PK have to start figuring out, because we are heavy favorites, like we said off the top of this episode, in that department, and that's the only way I see us winning this series as a slight advantage, especially with the fact that the goaltending situation is what it is. So we have to start turning this around. And it starts here with Game 3. The series is not knotted at 1 apiece here. We have to go into Vancouver and steal a couple of games here at Rogers Arena, and we have to obviously start winning that special teams battle. So here we go. Let's jump right back into this series. Game number 3, and we have to start winning that special teams. You're going to hear it over and over, but we have to make it happen. So here we go. First look at that new look power play, and there it is. Mark Giordano. Finally, we are now 2 for 10 on the power play, and we finally score with our new look power play, but they do respond quickly on a goal by Quinn Hughes, and then they get another one here from Justin Barron, and another one from Tyler Myers to really rub it in there here in the first period. They get a look at the power play, and our PK does the job there. So far through the first period of play, our special teams goes 1 for 1 on the power play and 1 for 1 on the PK. But for some reason, we allow 3 goals against here to 3 defensemen in Quinn Hughes, Justin Barron, and Tyler Myers. We just can't be doing that now. These all coming on 5-on-5, so I'm not sure what happened there. Obviously, that can't be, the special teams was improved in 20 minutes, but the 5-on-5 now is slipping here. We can't be allowing them that. So we have to claw ourselves back here into this game with the second period. Here we go. Come on, Calgary. We're out shooting them right now, 14-11. But we got to start scoring some goals here. Come on, Flames. Come on. Halfway through the second period, nothing so far. After a 4-goal first period. Come on, Calgary. 3 minutes to go. There we go, Corey Perry. His 3rd goal in as many games. That's huge. That is huge. Here's another power play. Shit, we don't score in our second power play. But we do get a goal from Corey Perry to pull ourselves within 1. So we're going to need a massive 3rd period here to come back and win this game. Come on, Flames. Huge 3rd period here. In game number 3. We have to steal a few games here in Vancouver. Come on, Calgary. Tie this one up. Come on, Calgary. Oh, my God. About halfway through the 3rd period. Come on, Flames. Tie this game up. Please tie this game up, Calgary. Yes! Mangiapane. Andrew Mangiapane. And then they get a power play and we kill it off. Minute 30. And we are going to overtime for the 2nd time in this series. But a huge 3rd period goal from Andrew Mangiapane as we come back from 3-1 deficit to tie this game at 3-3. And now we have to make that comeback complete here in overtime. It means nothing if we do not score this overtime winner right here. Come on, Flames. Overtime against the Canucks for the second game of this series. Huge PK in overtime. Now we get a 5-on-3. Come on. Yes! Woohoo! And it looks like we scored on the power play. Mangiapane with the game winner. And suddenly we turn things around on the special teams. A much better night. What did we go? Like 2 for 3 or 2 for 4 on the power play. And I think our PK killed off. Our PK went perfect on the night. I don't think we can look. Yeah, we can't look at our team stats here, just player stats. But a perfect night for the PK and almost a perfect night for the power play as well. What a drastic changes from games 1 and 2. Excuse me, when it came to the special teams. So 2-point night there for Mangiapane and Perry. Mangiapane, a huge 2-goal game. How about Andrew Mangiapane? Scores the game-winning or the game-tying goal in the 3rd period, and then scores the game-winning goal on the power play, and that's because we bumped him and Corey Perry up to that top unit with Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Tkachuk, and Sean Monahan, and they come through for us on that top unit in overtime, but a big goal by Mangiapane as well in the 3rd period to obviously tie that game up and send it to overtime, and because of that, Mangiapane leads us with 4 points now through 3 games. He is red hot for us in this playoff series, which is good. Corey Perry adds another goal. That's his 3rd goal in as many games. So that's why I wanted to bump Perry and Mangiapane up there on that top power play unit. But yes, the power play and the PK much improved from games 1 and 2. That's what you want to see. Now we have to carry that momentum over to game 4. I mean, every single game in this series, games 1, 2, and 3 have all been 1-goal games. They've been super close, but we got to start making sure that we win these games here. I don't care if the 1-goal or 5 goals differential. I just want to start winning games. We are up 2-1 in this series, but we got to keep it going here. So let's get right into game 4 in Vancouver. We have to take a 3-1 stranglehold on this series. That would be huge to go back to Calgary for game 5 if we can take a stranglehold on this series. So huge game here in Vancouver. Game number 4. They usually say this is the most important game of any series is game 4. Do the Canucks turn it around or do we get a stranglehold? There's an opening goal for us by Dylan Dubé after we kill off a PK. Now we get a chance on the power play. We don't score, so we go 0 for 1 on the power play in this game, but we're 1 for 1 on the PK. Dylan Dubé's lone goal of the first period, and it's going to stand going into the second. So here we go, second period. Come on, Flames. Come on. We need this here. Huge game here. Talbot, by the way, he went 9-09 in that last game. So that was a decent night for Talbot. See if he can hold on here in this game number 4. So far, so good. And there's Mark Jankowski potting a huge goal there at the end of the second period, coming with what, just a second left? Are you kidding me? 1 second left is what the clock shows. Jankowski scores, and the Flames are up 2-0 after 40. Do we hang on in the 3rd? Come on, Calgary. Here's a big PK, and we don't get it. They score, but then we respond. Another big goal from Christopher Stieg in a depth row. 3-1 Flames. Come on, Calgary. Hang on in this one. Hang on, hang on, hang on. Got about 6 minutes to go here. Shots are pretty even. Power play to end the game. Come on, Calgary. We don't score, but are we going to hang on? And we will. 3-1. Beautiful, beautiful performance there by the Calgary Flames in this one. And that is a massive game by our depth players, especially that fourth line. Look at these guys on the fourth line. Scott Wilson, 2-point night. Christopher Stieg, a goal and assist, 2-point night. Comes in replace of Max Domi in Game 3 because he was the healthy scratch. But when we lost Domi, we had to obviously bring Versteeg in. And he's got a 2-point night here in Game 4. Dylan Dubé with a huge first period goal there on the third line. Bennett with an assist. Giordano Jankowski on the fourth line with a goal. So massive game by our bottom six. Our top six takes the night off, unfortunately. We get nothing from our top players here. Mangiapane, Gaudreau, Kachuk, Monahan, Backlund, Corey Perry. Nothing from these guys, but our bottom six getting the job done here in Game 4. And then a big night there by Cam Talbot. 9-6-8. He looked really, really good in this one. Obviously, that's huge. So now we have a stranglehold 3-1 lead in the series, and that is massive as we head back home to Game 5 with a chance to eliminate the Vancouver Canucks and move on to the second round. And I just want to take a look here at this, and the Oilers are up 3-2 on the Ducks, so keeping an eye on that series. If we do win, we will play the winner of Edmonton and Anaheim. But obviously, we still have another win before we get to the second round, and the Canucks are definitely not going to make it easy. But it's just nice to see that in the last two games, we've turned the special teams around. Excuse me, for sure. So we now take a look at Mark Giordano, who lose their team with 5 points in 4 games. Good to see from the captain. That's what you need to see out of your veteran players and your leaders, especially in the Stanley Cup playoffs when it matters the most. So here we go. Game 5 back in Calgary. Like I said, we have a chance to finish this series here and eliminate the Canucks. We have to do it in Game 5. Do not give the Canucks any life, Calgary. Do not give them any life. Same lineup here as Games 3 and 4. Flames and Canucks, Game 5 from the Dome. Come on, Calgary, let's put this one to bed. Here we go. First period, we're underway. Halfway through the first period, nothing. No power plays for either side right now. This is a long first period. Nothing going on. And it will come to a close with us outshooting the Canucks 12-6. Like I said, no power plays on either side in that second period here at Game 5. Come on, Flames. They get the first power play of the game, and we kill it off. That's a big kill by PK, which has improved a lot. And then we get a power play goal from Johnny Gaudreau, and then a second goal from Dylan Dubé. Massive back-to-back goals by the Calgary Flames, just minutes apart there here in the second period. Johnny on the power play. Dylan Dubé second in as many games. 2-0. And then they add a very late goal there, which is, a minute left. Jordy Ben, I think that's his second in as many. So they make it a 1-goal game, which is going to make this third period super stressful, but super interesting, as we do have a chance here at eliminating the Canucks. But we have to hang on. Shots are 21 apiece. My goodness. Here we go. They get a power play. Come on, Calgary. Big kill there. Big kill. Let's take that momentum. Come on, Flames. We're already at 30 shots on goal. Come on, Calgary. Hang on in this one. Oh, they get another power play. My God. Stay out of the box, Calgary. Stay out of the box. Another massive PK there, which has looked excellent. And there's an empty netter by Corey Perry to end the series off. So our PK has looked absolutely excellent since Game 2, as well as our power play. It looks much improved. And it's funny what just a few line tweaks in the power play and the PK does to change the series on a complete 180 after Game 2. And we now win 3 games straight since Game 2 and finish off the Canucks in 5 games. Corey Perry adding the dagger in the Vancouver Canucks season. And a massive goal by Perry. That's why we acquired Perry. He has been just lights out. Is that his 4th goal in as many games, or as in 5 games? I think it is. Perry has a 2-point night here. Yeah, so he's got his 4th goal in 5 games. So he goes 4 goals. I don't know how many assists he put up, but Perry has just been on fire. I'll take a look at the stats here in a second. Dubé, Bennett, Jankowski, a bunch of players picking up points there. Johnny Gaudreau scoring as well. 9-6-7, back-to-back really good nights for Cam Talbot. In fact, he just allows 1 goal for the second straight game, I believe it was. Oh no, another injury though. This one is a mild concussion, April 21st, which doesn't seem too long for Sean Monahan. Of course, remember that Monahan was injured in the last episode there at the end of the regular season. I don't know if this is the same. I forget what that injury was, if this is the same injury. If he reoccurred it, I don't think so, because this one's a concussion. But the good news is I don't think April 21st is too far away. Let's just quickly fill his spot here with. We got no extra players here, so we'll have to go. We'll have to just fill it here. I'm gonna refix all these lines. Oh crap! You know what? We'll have to go best lines right now. I'm gonna fix every single line before the second round. I'm just going best lines, but yeah, the 21st you can see there is in just a few days, 3 days away. So there's a good chance we'll have Monahan back for the second round. I think Domi. Let's just take a quick look here at the injury report. And Riddick shouldn't be too far away either. So Riddick's returning on the 23rd, Domi on the 22nd, Monahan on the 21st. So boom, boom, boom. 3 days in a row, we will get Monahan, then Domi, then Riddick back. So, I mean, our top 3 players that have all gone down with injuries this season could all be returning within the next couple of days here. It's going to be iffy. Because the 21st is still 3 days away, the 22nd 4 days away, and the 23rd 5 days away still. So we could be starting the second round without a couple of these players. Probably without Domi and Riddick would be my guess. We start with Monahan. But either way, we should be getting them back very early into the second round as well. And will it be, we don't know if it will be Edmonton or Anaheim just yet. We're still got that to be decided. So, I think what we'll do is we'll end this episode here. You know what? We might have sim up to see who we have. Just quickly, there is Corey Perry, 6 points in 5 games. Again, that is why we acquired him. Not a big, massive move at the deadline for a huge, big-name player, but a guy that has a ton of playoff experience in Corey Perry, a former Stanley Cup champion, a veteran, was able to come in a depth role for us, but he has just performed huge. He's really stepped up his game here in the Stanley Cup playoffs, so that's what you want to see. So let's just let's sim up here. Let's see if we get any of those guys off the IR back, and let's see who we got in the second round. Will it be Anaheim or will it be Edmonton? Right now, the Oilers are up 3-2 on the Ducks. So we'll just keep simming day by day here. And multiple players now eligible to come back. So it looks like we might get a few of them back earlier than expected, which is extremely good news for the Calgary Flames. I'll take a look at that in a second. Or I guess we're taking a look at it now. Let's just see who's able to come back here. We'll go down to scratches. So Domi is able to come back. It doesn't look like Monahan's able to come back yet, which is weird because I thought Monahan... oops. Why don't we go like this here? What am I doing? That's what I meant to do. Yeah, it looks like Monahan's still injured, but Riddick is able to come back and Domi's able to come back. So it was the other way around. I don't know why it said that Monahan was expected to come back on the 21st and then Domi the 22nd and Riddick the 23rd, because it looks like Riddick and Domi, who sat the entire first round out pretty much. Riddick's been out since about middle of March. It looks like they are able to come back for the second round, and then Monahan we might start the playoff series without Monahan, but that's okay as long as we get Domi and Riddick back, and Monahan will be back, very soon. So let's keep going here day by day, and it looks like the Ducks have just tied up the series. They're going to a 7th game in Edmonton, with the Oilers hosting the Ducks there in the Pacific Division. So we will play the winner of that one. Just taking a quick look here. So let's keep simming here. We might even get Monahan back by the start. Yeah, and we do. There it is. Sean Monahan is ready to play in the next game. Excuse me, I'm getting so excited that I'm stumbling over my words here. So Monahan, Domi, and Riddick are all back for the second round. That's massive news for the Flames. And it looks like we still don't have a winner yet in Edmonton and Anaheim. But this is a much-needed rest break for the Flames and for the players to heal a little bit. Hopefully Riddick and Domi will heal a little bit, as well as Monahan. Sim up one more day here, see who we got. And there it is. It is going to be the Anaheim Ducks yet again. Once again, it will be the Anaheim Ducks and the Calgary Flames. The same team that eliminated us last year in the second round. It's amazing how things work out. We had the Vancouver Canucks in the first round last year, and then the Anaheim Ducks in the second round last year, and it is deja vu all over again. 1 year later, we have the Vancouver Canucks in the first round yet again. This time we beat them 4-1. Last year we beat them 4-0. This time we beat them 4-1 in the series, and now this year we got the Anaheim Ducks for a second straight year as well in the second round, and we're going to hope that the results are different this year around against the Ducks. I mean, it almost feels like you know, you couldn't have scripted it better, like a Hollywood storyline that we have to face the Anaheim Ducks if we're ever going to be able to move past the second round. We have not been past the second round since 2004. since 2004. It's almost been 20 years. Almost 20 years since we've been past the second round in Calgary. And it looks like every time we get there, it's the Anaheim Ducks. It was the Anaheim Ducks in 2017 when we couldn't make it past, or excuse me, 2015 when we couldn't make it past the second round. But we did get to the second round for the first time since 2004. Couldn't make it past them. Last year in 2020, it was the Anaheim Ducks in the second round. We couldn't make it past them. This year, it'll be the Anaheim Ducks in the second round. Will we make it past it this year? Third time's a charm, they say. You never know, but we'll find out here pretty soon. And it will be the former Duck himself, Corey Perry, who was a massive part of 2015 against us, and all those years that we lost to Anaheim. Perry was such a huge reason why, and now we've got him on our side. Hopefully he can do some damage against his former team, and hopefully for the first time in 20 years, this is the year that it happens for Calgary. Hopefully we make it past Anaheim, and hopefully we make it past the second round. We'll find out in the next episode, as this one will come to an end. We'll pick up round 2 against the Ducks in the next episode in Franchise Mode.